Well, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. Hope you are well. Hope you are having a great day after Remembrance Day here, and hope you are healthy and safe and enjoying your day so far. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Dune and Friends. Today we have another wonderful friend joining us from the Calgary area. And so I'm here in Sherwood Park, Alberta. And so we have an Alberta connection happening here today. And so Palmo, can you still hear me in the green room there, my friend? Wonderful. So let me do a quick introduction of our special guest here today before we have him join us for an hour and a bit. And we're going to talk about, well, let me just do a quick introduction here. So Palmo Carpino is a humorist, a luncheon presenter, and just a really nice guy. Starting off with a small improv group in the early 1980s, Palmo has also entertained audiences with stand-up comedy at Yuk Yuks, Punchlines, and Rejavanate. Wow, Rejavanate in Las Vegas. I'm not a Las Vegas guy, you can tell. And at New York City's Hamburger Harry, just to name a few. On multiple occasions and mere moments from being charged for trespassing, he has been escorted out of the biggest hotels in Las Vegas. Presentations include a LAUGHTERnoon with Palmo Carpino, Keynotes, everything I need to know about effective communication, increasing productivity and spicing up my marriage, I learned from improv comedy, and Have a Seat, as well as This Isn't Stand-Up, or Have a Seat, This Isn't Stand-Up. Now, a production artist for over 30 years, Palmo also illustrates the importance of connecting with your audience and visually with techniques used in effective branding messages such as ads and one-sheets and similar print collaterals. So with that introduction, my friends, help me welcome a wonderful guest again, Mr. Palmo Carpino. Good afternoon, Palmo. How are you doing today, my friend?
Dude, I'm doing very well. How did you track me down? This has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
I have my connection, my friend. I have my connection. It's called the Vietnamese connection. You know, like you have the Chinese connection. This is the Vietnamese connection. I reached out and had my people search all over, the Calgary area, and lo and behold, there you are.
Well, it's yeah, I'm easy to find, regardless whether you go 411 or RCMP. Either way, someone's going to know where I am. I have no doubt of that.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today, my friend. And
thank you.
Maybe tell us a bit more. Fill us in on your background. Tell us a backstory. How did you get here? Other than I had my people find you. Other than that, how else did you get here?
Oh gosh, where do you start? I guess, I mean, as far as the presentation and the speaking background goes, I mean, I guess it goes back to maybe back to high school or junior high school, maybe elementary school. I've always I've never had a problem in being in front of an audience. I have had problems in what I've said in front of the audience, but being in front of them never has an issue. So I mean, I always found myself in situations whether it was oh gosh, just emceeing a particular event or, something along that line there, I would usually volunteer to do that. Was involved in Toastmasters for, probably 15 or more years. Not a current member right now, but certainly have, as far as I know, I haven't burnt any bridges, and I still have all my friends and colleagues in the Toastmasters world. The last 9 years, I guess, have been with CAPS, the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, here in Calgary. And have been now with this whole pandemic thing. I mean, the gigs have been far and few between, but the last couple of years have been more in the MC side of events, just whether it be dinners or special events or something along that line. I would make myself available. I have presented at CAPS conventions just as as breakout session, whether it be in applied improvisations or in
was
humor.
in that session. I was in that session. And I have the video, so just kidding.
And you've got the video. Holy smokes! And you know what? I don't think I had T-shirts at that point.
No,
so, but yeah, it was. So it's always been. I've always made myself available for either presenting or assisting in presentations. I haven't done strictly stand-up, for many years. I did it full time, both the stand-up as well as working with a small improv group for about 3.5 years back in the early mid 80s kind of thing. And but again, that was that was a whole different lifetime ago. But I still make myself available. So if someone calls me up, we might have a teacher's dinner or some type of event, and they say, "Hey, Palmo, can you do 25 minutes or 30 minutes of stand up?" And I said, "I can, but if it's appropriate, why don't we take a look at me emceeing the entire gig?" Then it's a lot more work at my end, but they would still get to they'd still get the stand up. They would still get some improv, and they would have an event that flowed as per schedule, keeping things on time, having the interaction with the audience at the appropriate times. This perhaps segues between any other speakers that might be at the event as well. So all of that, it's more of a full meal deal. But again, I don't think I've ever had anyone disappointed that I upsold them to a major, a little bit more major commitment. Also, if I just as an aside, if I've got plenty of time ahead of time, if I'm notified ahead of time, then I also will put together a marketing piece for them as well. Just something that they could maybe throw up onto if it's a corporate gig, and it's just an internal thing, something that they could send out to their employees or throw onto their intranet. If it's a public thing, is again something that will help in maybe getting a few more bums in the seats kind of thing. So it's I try to do more than just so be
they
there.
They call you to sing. They call you to sing, and before the conversation ended, you end up being a one-man band for them.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think I've ever had anyone call me to sing. quite honestly. Maybe after some good, a good vocal warm up and maybe some refresher lessons. I could be tricked, but there might be alcohol involved. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we in the industry call it the value add things that we provide to our clients, and the idea is they don't know when they call us, they don't know all of the different skills and strengths that we have, the tools that we have, and the other backgrounds that you have. In your case, in advertising and again, visual production and all those kinds of things. They may not know that when they reach out to you for this comedy thing or even for this MC thing, but because you have it and you're willing and able to bring it in, to bundle it in. You're providing more. You're giving them a larger pie, and who doesn't like a larger pie?
Maybe the entire. Maybe they don't want the entire pie, but I'm ready to give it to them.
Yeah.
But no, you bring up a good point, because there are. I mean, especially nowadays, just with the with the economy. I mean, whatever needs to be. I mean, one on the. Whether it's corporate or private, people still want to get the best value for their for the money. I was going to say bang for their buck, but no, they're not paying me for. In a sense, they're wanting to make sure that their particular people are getting what is being promoted. And so that, again, I mean, most of any of our colleagues will know that you got to speak to the clients well ahead of time, and make sure that you're on the same page. Are they bringing you in just strictly for entertainment? Are they bringing you in because they want to see some change in perhaps habits or attitudes? All of that is real important. And I, like a number of our colleagues, we'll send out a little a little sheet that I'm trying to gather as much information as I can, and to find out. So who's going to say if the event is a success? Is it going to be a standing ovation at the end of the presentation? Is it going to be people repeating some lines that they heard at the presentation a week down the down the road after the event is over? You need to know that, because I mean, you could have have one of the best messages out there that you want to make sure everyone is that you want to get out there. But if it's something that they're not even asking for, well, what's the point, right? So it's it is important that that you and your client are on the same page, and you know what you're getting. And of course, if you have that little value added, hopefully that will separate you from the other people that are maybe vying for that position. So yeah, anytime there's a little value added, I think it's going to get you in the good books. If my wife says, can you bring home some some hamburger meat, and I bring home hamburger meat and a flower, boom, value added. That's
not placed in between the patties, though. That would be bad. But not only have my people found you, my friend, not only have my people found you, Mr. Lane Polakov.
Lane Polakov
also said he found you as well, my friend. He found you as well. And then we have Anne all the way from Norway.
Ankin, hello, thank you.
The wonder of technology. Welcome, Lane, and welcome, Anne. And look at all these people. Indeed, very smart. Did you pay these people ahead of time? I'm just curious. How much was it?
I haven't yet.
No,
I haven't yet.
You gotta pay them.
But you gotta know. I mean, the real key is not how many people are there at the start; is how many people are going to be there at the end. So
tell us, my friend. We're going to cover all kinds of things, and we're going to provide some tips and value and insights for our viewers who are interested in, again, whether it's visual production, whether it's adding humor to your events, whether it's to talk about MC and the role of an MC and all those kinds of things. We're going to be diversified in our conversation, if you're okay with that. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay. You lead, I'll follow. And it hasn't always worked for me. Sometimes, what they say, a leader without any followers is just a guy out on a walk.
Well, walking is healthy, I hear. During COVID here, we all need to walk. We have adolescent from Arizona. We have all of these. Wow, this is cool. Thank you for chiming in. Flowers.
And these and just so you know, these are all my Up With People family. I'm an Up With People alumni going back to 1979. I traveled with these people for for a year. Lane, yes. I now again, this needs clarification that I like to wear Lane's clothes, not at the same time, not at the same time, but.
Oh, that could be fun.
No, it was a show costume, and it was. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of clarification that are needed with some of these comments. I can just tell.
I thought I heard you travel with these people for a year, and they still are willing to actually chime in and say nice things about you. I don't know what you were on there, my friends, but it was obviously a good trip.
Oh, it was an amazing experience for me. It was a year in back when I was this would have been would have been 20 at the time, and I was accepted into the program. And for people who may not be aware of who Up With People is, for people in the Calgary area, if you maybe consider the Stampede, the grandstand show at the Stampede, and you have the Young Canadians, sort of like the Young Canadians on an international scale. So there's the singing, the dancing, the whole production. So we put on a 2-hour musical production, and we are hosted by host families. So it can, and that varies from wherever we are. Our particular tour took us the west coast of the United States, up into British Columbia. The second semester we got into we went down to Florida, and then did Venezuela, Panama, and Costa Rica. Cool. And then ended the tour back again in Florida. So it was an amazing experience where, I mean, yes, you had the 2-hour musical production, but we also have we're involved in the communities. We are we're experiencing whatever the local area has, and just an amazing experience. And again, I'd have to say that probably being hosted with family, as opposed to being in a hotel or something like that, it was an amazing year. It was an amazing experience, and as you can tell, I mean, we still stay connected even after 40 years, and there's still some host families that I've stayed in contact with, or at least they haven't put any restraining orders on me. So so it's all been it was an amazing experience, and again, just one of those things that will stay with us. Will stay with me for my entire life. Yeah. So
now, Anne Kristen chimed in and said we had such a great year, and I think that summarizes the segment here about this group here that you are fortunate and lucky to have, who sort of continue the relationship and connection for decades, as you mentioned, 40 years or so. Now, is it Up With People, did you say?
Yeah, the program is called Up With People, and they've been around since about 1964, 65, depending on when you starting off as a sing out group. But yeah, the organization, it's an international organization now, and
I'm feeling a little bit courageous, so I'm going to bring it in, and you tell me if I got the right website. It would be very bad if I got the wrong website. Is that the right website?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah. So the program is still running. It's scaled. Well, not right now during the pandemic, but we were scheduled to have them this past spring, but of course it was canceled. And it's scaled back somewhat. It's changed from when I traveled. But still, the main message, just building bridges of communication and understanding. At a time when people are wanting to build walls, there's still people that are wanting to go with bridges instead. And part of the program also, I mean, it wasn't just the 2-hour musical production, but we also had opportunities to do public relations, where we would go ahead of the cast, and there's about 100 of us traveling in the cast at any one time, and there would be a PR group that would be sent out ahead of the cast, anywhere from from 3 to maybe 4 weeks ahead, work with the local sponsor. So we also got experience in doing the marketing, doing the public relations, working with sponsors, working with the media, and that varied quite a bit. Because we played some corporate gigs, some of the like big names. We did the halftime show at the Seattle Seahawks in the Kingdome when it was still around. We performed in bull rings, baseball fields. It was the environment was as varied. I mean, full spectrum from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And being able to work with the sponsors, again, just a huge educational experience.
Now, correct me on the pronunciation of it. Is it Anne Kristen, or how do you say her first?
Anne Christine.
Anne Christine.
Anne Christine, yes.
Said here,
and I think
director is with us, Jose Luis. Yeah.
Jose Luis, yes.
Wonderful.
And we were. And this gets is kind of interesting. The cast members were students between the ages of 18 and 26, and I think Jose Luis was probably in that 25, 26. So imagine 100 and full cast was probably with staff, closer to 120 or 125 members. Imagine a 25 or 26-year-old being responsible for 100, 18 and 20-year-olds. So, but it was the staff was amazing. Our particular, we had some a lot of challenges with the tour that we did, especially going down into Latin America. Again, Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica, and I got to tell you, I mean, there was from my experience and what I remember, I mean, there's no middle class. There was like you had the very well off, and you had everyone else, and I stayed with people that I mean we're just so giving. So welcoming, and I think that was a very common experience for for our entire cast.
Yeah. So we have Beth who chimed in and say hi from, I presume, Pennsylvania. Don't forget that you dance. Now, before the show is over, Palmo is going to dance. Palmo's going to dance for us. I don't know when it's going to happen, but he's going to dance, and he's going to dance just the way he did when he was 20, back on that 1-year trip there, right?
We have a reunion every 5 years. So last year was our 40-year reunion back in 2019, and one of the part of the reunion event is we do. The people who are there, the alumni who are there, will gather and we'll put together a 10-minute presentation from when we traveled. So you'd have an evening of song and dance, and you've got all these 60-year-olds thinking that they're still 20 and dancing, and we still had the voice. I'll tell you, we had some pretty great sound, and I don't think you've got the video from that. There was I didn't get my act together in time. I could have. There is some actual proof that that we still have some of the moves that we did 40 years ago.
Cool. Well, let's hear from again your friends out there who have graciously joined us, and I'm so happy and thankful that you have joined us, folks. And so Anne Kristen said again, Hollywood Bowl, Arco Gesso, Owens game.
Some of the places that some of the other places that we performed, the Arco Jesse Owens game was a big production. We performed at the Hollywood Palladium, again the Kingdome and for the Seattle Seahawks, and again we had just we were all over the place. What an amazing experience that I was very fortunate to have.
Yeah,
Jose Luis, you were 26 at the time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's probably one of the older ones back then, huh?
He was, but you know what? He looks, he hasn't changed a lot. He still looks like he's 26. Now I don't know. You can take that whatever way you want, Jose Luis.
So now I'm going to ask you an interesting question in just a moment here, but I do want to just display. You've got lots of friends watching here and chiming in, and
Armando is from Venezuela.
Yeah, well, very cool, my friend. But let me ask you this question: all of these folks that have joined us here, graciously from all parts of the world, what would be one thing or two things, or three things, if you're real ambitious, that you have done, or that is a bit of an interesting fact about you that they don't know, that the only way that they found out was they tune into this broadcast and they found out these 2 or 3 things. Ideally, they should be legal things.
Oh,
okay?
You know what? I don't think I've got any secrets from these people. When you travel with them for an entire year, living out of a suitcase, and then continue to stay connected. There isn't. Maybe some of them may have don't know that I delivered my 3rd son in the back seat of my car en route to the hospital.
Oh well, tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Well, that was a particular event that got way more media attention than it should have. But it was long story short is it was our 3rd son. Lorraine gave me a call indicating that I should come home, and the water had broke, and I said, well, the hospital that we delivered our previous 2 kids there was about probably a 20-minute drive, but we ended up getting caught in rush hour traffic. This happened like 5:30, Monday afternoon. I think it was about 32 or 33 degrees that particular day, and I just got stuck right in traffic. I'm on the phone with 911. I'm looking for police. I'm looking for ambulance. I'm looking for Moses is who I'm looking for. Someone to part the traffic that was in front of it. And we were like 5 minutes away from the hospital. So
and of course it took 40 minutes before anything happened, right? No, just kidding.
It was the quickest of the three deliveries, and I guess what I saved on the doctor bill, I ended up spending on the ambulance, because we were fortunate. I'm talking to 911, and I'm telling them the situation, and my wife happens to make to let me know in no uncertain terms that she believes the head is crowning. So so then I get the other person, the person on the other end of the line at 911. They end up giving me hell, saying, "You got to stop the car. You got to do this right now." So I pull off onto the boulevard, and I go around to the back seat where Lorraine happened to be, I hand her the phone like she's got nothing better to do. I hand her the phone, and we literally have 911 just sort of talking her through this through the through the birth. I mean, I had him. He was already delivered. I had him in my arms by the time the paramedics got there, but they got there just in time. I didn't cut the umbilical cord because I didn't have the only thing I had with me were in the car. I think were like jumper cables, and I'm thinking, is it blue to belly button and black to ground? I don't know, but
now,
it was.
I gotta say, my friend, I gotta say, you. This is 130th show, 130th special guest here, and I've had several doctors on this show, and I've had a doctor who delivered baby. That was her thing for years and years. Just a couple of days ago, but nobody had used the word crowning, but you did, my friend.
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I may have played one on television. So, well, again, this is part of the value added that we were talking about. Sure, I could have said it in much more simpler terms, but why not use the proper term when possible?
There you
I'm
go.
not we're all adults here. We could call things, we could call a popo without.
There you go. Lane has to go to a meeting, but Palmo, why don't you say thanks and bye to Lane there? Thank you so much, Lane, for joining us.
Oh, Lane, everyone who's showed up, thank you so much. I think they. We try to stay connected as much as possible. So I mean, I always appreciate any, if all I can get is a hi or a thumbs up on Facebook, I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, we all need. It'd be great to when we get to talk live, and we hold a Zoom reunion every once in a while, but. Especially nowadays, I mean, everyone is cooped up, and people still want to get to the, still need that connection, right? And so we'll, I'll take it any way we can, any way that I can get it. So
yeah,
thank you for everyone.
While you were telling your story, focused on that, I brought in some comments there from the group, and you might have missed some of them. So if you look in your right side of the screen under public tab,
yes,
yeah. So feel free to comment on any of them.
Holy smokes!
And when you do comment, maybe read out what they said as well, so people who are listening.
Boy, there's Adelaisa. Jose Luis was responsible for marrying her and Bill. So we had a couple of cast members who were seeing each other, during our tour, and continued afterwards, and ended up getting married. And Bill and Adelaisa Meek from Arizona. They are. They're one of those couples, and
that's another example of value add there, my friend.
It is.
They came for what was it now? They came for the musical. Is it? They came for the play.
Oh yeah, it's again, and we have, and it's one of the cool things, of course, is that it being an international cast is that when getting out and traveling, I'll tell you, it's been more than a few times where been able to crash on somebody's couch or have a room to myself while traveling, because you've got people that are just all over the world. So so that's kind of nice to have, if you're
I wanted to switch gear a little bit and get into this giving blood. I know you've given blood a few times. Tell us about how many times, my friend.
I've been donating to the Canadian Blood Services, either blood, platelets, or plasma. Plasma that lately, for the last 32 years. And last week, my last donation, I believe, was 1,073 or 74, somewhere thereabouts. But but it's yeah, it's just part of my my regular routine, and I've been privileged to be honored a couple of times regarding this, but I want to be clear on this. Anytime that I share my number with people, it's not about this is going to be hard to believe for people that are still on on the chat here, but it's not about bringing attention to me. It's about bringing attention to the cause. It's like I said, being able to make it just part of my schedule. Well, when something is convenient, I mean, it's easy to do. I mean, nobody finds something that's hard to do and does it another, 1,000 times. So, so when I say, yeah, I've donated, 1,000, over 1,000 times, it's just to illustrate, how easy it is to do. They indicate that each donation could save up to 3 lives for every donation. Now, do I think that I've saved 3,000 people? No, I don't. I mean, when I think of lifesavers, I mean, I'm thinking of our first responders, right? I mean, the police and the ambulance, the fire. I mean, those people that actually do put their lives on the line for someone else. I've just been able to make it part of the schedule, make it in because it's convenient, and I just sit in a chair for for an hour. With the with plasma, it's a little longer. If you're donating whole blood, I mean, you're probably in there for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so. With plasma, it's still the one needle, but it's 2 tubes, and they'll draw out the whole blood, send it through a centrifuge, which will separate the plasma from the red blood cells, and I get my red blood cells back. So it's a little process that goes, take it out, put it back in, take it out, put it back in. So it's a little longer process, but I'm not down a quart like with whole blood, and that's one of the reasons, that because the body can recreate what it's lost in about 6 days. There's a number of us that donate on a regular basis. I mean, there's people that they've given have been given donating longer than I have. There's people who've certainly donated more than I have. Here in Calgary, I think we've got my friend Glenn. He's got to be up around maybe 1,500 donations. Lucille is probably at 12 or 1,300 or such. So I mean, there's a lot of people that will do this on on a regular basis, and we're up here in Canada. We don't get paid for our donations. I know that there are places that are wanting to try to. There's a private members bill that's maybe coming, that's been trying to be passed, but so far everyone who donates is doing it because they know that it's the right thing to do. So we're
and Kristen chimed in again. She said, "I only give blood, not the platelets and whatnot." So she only gives blood, and agree. She posts the blood giving to inspire others to do this. Such an easy thing to do. That means so much. So thank you, Anne Christine, and
Christine. Yeah, you're my hero too. You are my hero, because you know what I mean. It's when I first started donating, it was because a friend of ours, she was a regular donor, And she said, just you want to come and see what it's about. So I said, sure, I'll come and see. And I found that the process, I mean, it was fast, it was efficient. And I said, yeah, this is something that I could do. So after donating for a few years with the whole blood, back then, I think you could probably do like maybe 4 donations a year, because again, with the whole blood donation, the body needs time to rebuild, everything that it was taken. And then in Calgary, I had again a friend who was a regular donor, and he said, have you ever thought about donating plasma? And I said, well, what's plasma? He says, well, why don't you come and see? Both those situations were just a simple invitation, just a one-on-one invitation, come and see what it's about. No big no fancy campaign, it's always been a need, and we're certainly trying to see you later, Jose. It's always been something that it's in constant demand, so and that's all it takes. It takes someone to to just make that invitation. And I mean, you don't know if who you're going to to influence, but it's as simple as that. So I mean, the people who are more courageous than the regular donors are the people who are donating for the very first time. Those are those are real champions.
Yeah. Now, Armando said, "Hey, Palmo, you learned how to speak Spanish. So my challenge to you is say something inspirational in Spanish."
No, that's most of the Spanish that I remember, I think, either got me food, got me drink, or it got me to to a washroom. I think that's
inspirational. I'm inspired when you're in a foreign country and you can find food and you can find restrooms. Those are great things, my friend.
I know. And when we did, since we were doing the Latin America tour, I mean, a number of our songs were translated into Spanish. And we had an international medley as well. So they were all original songs that were produced, and then during the international medley, it was, just as it suggests, songs and dances from different countries. Certainly, ones from the countries that we were visiting were highlighted a little bit more, and so. Yeah, I probably know. I probably know a dozen different languages just because of the songs. I may. It may not get me anywhere. Other than
being that English is my third language, I can tell. I can certainly experience the idea of there's things that you can't talk through, but you can sing through. Like you hear some singers and they sing just like so and so. And then when they revert to speaking, then you hear all of the different, whether it's the accent, whether it's the, whatever. But songs are a great way to learn those things as well. So Adelise also chimed in here. She said, "I'm looking right now for a place to donate and follow your lead."
Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah. Adelise, I love you.
Yeah. Now, there's something else that was said by somebody about... I'm just going to bring it back because it's a few comments ago and I was meaning to bring it in. And here you go. Well, Jose has left by now, but prior to leaving, he said this. He said,
yeah, he's
they say they were only seeing each other. I kind of doubt it.
well, you know what? I mean, we did. I think everyone was pretty responsible, for and respectable for the situations. I mean, it's not, up with people sometimes gets, people, might be a bit satirical on it and say, it was a squeaky clean, group, didn't smoke, didn't drink, but I mean, that's just common courtesy. I mean, when you're out performing in public and such. But did we have our challenges? Obviously, but that was all part of I mean, that was part of the whole thing. I mean, learning music. I mean, we also did our own stage setup as well. So we had to do it all. Everyone pulled their weight. You had the superstars on stage like Liz and you had the soloists and and the main dancers, and then the cast members. I mean, we had such a really great sound, but like I said, we were also responsible for setting up the stage, taking it down, selling some souvenirs, and such. So there's all sorts of things that we got, that we had the privilege of learning, and we learned some stuff maybe I didn't want to know, but it was.
We're gonna play a game. We're gonna play a game. Let's get into this thing where I'm gonna put up a photo, and then you either say something short about that photo, or you tell us a long story behind that photo, and it's going to be.
I'm gonna shoot for short stories on every one.
Okay, and it's going to be random. Okay, it's going to be somewhat random. So let me just make room for the photos here.
Okay, so I'm ready.
There you go. Tick.
Oh yeah, that's my picture of Palmo bare from the waist down.
Bare from the waist down. Oh, cool. Tell us something funny about this photo.
I'm not wearing pants in that photo.
Oh, these were.
I'm pretty. Yes,
pre-COVID days. You were ahead of your time, my friend. You were ahead of your time.
Oh yeah. No, I'm always wearing pants. Okay, keep going. Those are just headshots. Keep going. I also volunteer with the Calgary Stampede, and I'm a committee member for the beef cattle committee. And the beef cattle committee, they're during the 10-day event at the Stampede grounds, we host the cattle trail, and that is all about the beef industry. So we would have industry partners that would be part of the display as well, and it's a whole thing right from pasture to plate. So we would have we obviously would have live animals there, but we also had people there who were like in transportation or identification, feedlot, just the whole gamut. And and I'm pretty sure that I'm just the token city slicker on the committee, because I know I learn like one new thing a year. but again, just a great a great learning experience. We also have tying in the speaking experience as well. So we would have some of our industry partners there that would have their a little 5-minute or 10-minute stage time and do a little presentation kind of thing. And not everyone was comfortable in doing the speaking. So we would in a situation where they're talking about their industry, a lot of times we would just make it into a conversation, so almost like an interview thing, because they're the experts. They know what their industry, and sometimes it needs a little bit of help or a little bit of prodding to get that information out. So I mean, we will just we help our those people who volunteer to do the speaking. Sure, let's you do it on your own, or we'll help you do that as well. So that's a Calgary.
And Christine chimed in again. She said, referring to Armando, she says, the star in Venezuela was Armando.
Oh. And yeah, no, I mean that was his home turf.
Yeah.
I mean,
can you read stuff inside the quotes there, inside the arrows there, my friend? What does that say?
Canta mi Caracas. Caracas is a city in in Venezuela.
Okay, cool.
And but oh yeah, he was Armando. He was the whole. I don't want to say the whole enchilada, because that's not right. But I mean, he had the voice. He was a dancer. Boy, he was just a superstar, just a great ambassador for for the group, a great presenter and entertainer, and went on to he continued, and Christine helped me with, or Armando, if you're still on there. Yeah, he was responsible for one of the opera houses down in Caracas. He was like a stage man, not a stage manager. He was a big deal. I'll just leave it at that. So
he might still be a big deal these days, Palmo.
Oh, he's still a big deal to me. To me, absolutely is.
The whole
the whole arepa. Okay, yes,
yeah.
The whole arepa instead of and the whole enchilada.
Okay, there you go. I thought so.
No. See, so it brings us back to the the beef industry. You see. Yeah. See, you see how we tie all this in.
There you go.
Next photo.
It's like you're the. So tell us, my friend. You appear to be a bit of a funny guy, and I was wondering what makes you so funny. What goes into funny? What goes into funny? Tell us seriously, though. If somebody wants to be a bit more funny in their kind of interactions, add more fun to presentation, add more fun to life, add more fun to relationships and interactions. What are some key things?
Well, yeah, humor is one of the one of the best ways to to make a connection with the with your audience, and that could be whether you're a sales manager and you've got a sales team that you're speaking with, a teacher and students, or just even just one-on-one in a particular relationship. I mean, if you've got a message to share, whatever that happens to be, and it can be from teaching a program to maybe being inspirational, or just trying to say we got to get the garage cleaned out. I mean, whatever the message is, you need to connect with the with your audience, whether it's be a lot or an individual one. And I mean, humor, I mean, I've always found certainly one of the easiest ways for me, but one of the best ways to make that connection, because until you've connected with them, it doesn't matter what you have to say or how you say it. If they're not ready to receive it, I mean, you're just wasting you're wasting time. And I always like to strive to make the point that it needs to be appropriate humor, for in a couple of different ways. I mean, it needs to be appropriate in the sense, for the situation. It needs to be appropriate that you're not, that you're not going to be insulting anybody, or putting anyone down. But so I have I have a keynote where I talk about start with the truth, not with a joke. Because typically people think, well, I've got to do this, this toast or this, presentation and such, and it'll just start with a joke. Well, there's only two things that can happen when you start with a joke, and it may not be appropriate. One, they may have they may have already heard the joke, and especially nowadays with all the social media that we have and memes that are that go out there, or that humor is always it's always readily available, but is it the appropriate humor? So when you start off with a joke, they may already have heard it. So then they're going to...
Quick interruption. Time flies when you're having fun, and Christine has to go here to her next meeting. Imagine that. People have lives outside of these. Thank you so much for joining in.
Ankin, thank you so much. Love you. But there's so if people have already heard the joke, then they're going to sit back, maybe cross their arms, and say, "Okay, guy, what else are you going to tell me that I've heard before, or that I already know?" Mm-hmm. So you've got you're starting an uphill climb fairly soon. The other thing that could happen is that they haven't heard the joke. They think it's the funniest thing that they've ever heard. They can't wait to tell their friends about it. Is that what you want them to remember about your presentation? Do you want them to remember you and your message, or are they just going to remember that joke? So it's so when I say start with the truth, not with a joke, there are typically you can reveal the humor just in your own situation, whether it be the environment or something that you have in common with the group. So you just need to make that connection. It doesn't need to be, they don't need to be, bent over and, holding their sides and laughing hysterically. I mean, if you make them smile, that you've made a connection. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously, they heard that, so they're ready to hear what you have to say. So, so that's why I always one of my lines is always start with the truth and not with a joke. And it also has to be appropriate, and in the sense that it can't be anything. You don't want to do anything that's derogatory, or it's going to insult anybody. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about either a current event or something that happened to you, then again, you're the one who might end up being laughed at. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't distinguish between being laughed at or with. So but it's so yeah, you need to know your audience. You need to know your style as well. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy Robin Williams, you enjoy that particular style. You don't want to go out and do his routine and just be known as a hack. But everyone has a particular style that they want to that they do better at. Mm-hmm. So just and it's a lot of common sense as well. If you're not an athlete, don't make fun of athletes. I mean, if you're not a woman, don't make fun of women. If you're not Italian, don't make fun of the mafia. Well, even if you are Italian, don't make fun of the mafia. The point is that it needs to you need to be really aware of the environment, right? And just if you're bombing on stage, I gotta say, let me bring it back to me. If I'm bombing on stage, I haven't done my homework. I haven't done my research, knowing who's out there, knowing who, what I can say, what I shouldn't say, what I can get away with, what I've got permission to say. Permission is huge. You've got to get the audience permission, and that's where the warm up comes into play.
Just as an example, if I could add, when I
Yeah.
do a lot of corporate training and even university teaching, we have a lot of fun, and my courses tend to be either 2 days course or 3-day course. And when I do a 2 or 3 day course, typically the third day or even 2-day course, the second day, the last day is typically on a Saturday. And I joke and I tell people on the Saturday, I say, you know what we can get away with on a Saturday is very much different than what we can get away with on a Thursday when we started the course.
Yeah. Yeah, and
back to that permission, back to that warming up and realizing, where you can go and where you can't go. If you start that on day one, the first morning, you just don't know how the group and then they don't know you. They're gonna,
yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, you can't be going, and that's why people falsely think or believe that if they start off with a joke and they're laughing right at the very beginning, then it's then they're golden. I mean, they've got the audience, and that isn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
You need to and again, knowing the audience. I mean, that's where talking to individuals ahead of time. You're gonna you're just gonna know who's what you're going to be able to to get away with and not get away with. I mean, I don't want to sound too derogatory in there, but you need to know what is going to what's going to work well. And again, because it all comes back to your audience. What do they need? How are you meeting their particular needs? They're probably not there just because just to hear you MC or to do a presentation. They're there to how's this guy going to help me in my work or in my life or in my relationships or what have you. So it's not just about the joke.
Yeah. So again, I always come back to you want to inject fun into the message and into the content rather than making fun be the message. So in other words, deliver your stuff in a funny way, deliver your stuff with some fun sprinkled on there, but it is not purely about like you say, the jokes and things like that.
Yeah. And again, it needs to be a style that you are that you're comfortable with. Some people, again, they're not very loud or boisterous or some of them are just a little bit more laid back. I mean, you see like Stephen Wright or any of the deadpan comics who just deliver the line and they're doing it in that particular style. Some people are comfortable with props, just having some visuals there and not necessarily the rubber chickens, although Tim Gard has made a great reputation, with that. But just visuals that are accomplishing the same thing.
Hey, Palmo, have you ever been in an interview where the interviewer really looks up to you? Have you?
Why?
Your video is above me, my friend. If you look at your screen, your video is above you. So I have to look up to you. You're way up there.
That particular photo that you've got there is in Pompeii. We had the chance to do a European cruise and holiday a few years back now. It was for our 30th wedding anniversary, because apparently after 30 years of marriage, you can't get away with a homemade coupon book, for foot rubs and and such.
We just celebrate our 25th, so that's I gotta be mindful of that milestone then.
Oh yes, yeah. You need you need to know your audience. Okay. But yeah, we had a great trip. We just real quick, we flew into Paris, spent a couple of days there. Took the train down to Barcelona. where we spent a couple of days there. We did the cruise, and it did southern France, the west coast of Italy, up the Adriatic to Venice. There's Cinque Terre there. We did Venice and Croatia and Montenegro. Just a great opportunity. And Lorraine and I, we've cruised. Not a lot, but we've probably done like maybe 7 or 8 times. And I got to tell you, best bang for my buck. It really is. And I know I'm going to get people that'll probably email me and say, you know how much fuel a cruise ship is. That's another discussion. But it was a whirlwind tour. It was my first time in Europe, so I just loved it. That is the theater on the cruise ship. It's wow. We've never done any of the river cruises. We've always done the ocean cruises. So we're on some fairly large ships where you're looking at 3, 4, 5,000 people on the ship. That is in Florence. Boy, I got to tell you, if I wasn't in Calgary, that's where I would like to. I'd like to be back in the Tuscany region, and Florence is just we spent 3 days there after the cruise, and I mean I know that Europe is it's a different world there. I mean, it's a different world everywhere, but I would. I mean, anytime you have the chance to do some traveling, I mean, just jump at the opportunity, and it's oh yeah, that's appropriate. Jump when I'm standing there at the top of a stairwell. That was at a hotel in Paris that my wife and I stayed at, and
it just reminds us that in every age or generation or period, or whatever you want to call it, era, there's different focus, right? So these days, architecture is often not the focus of most of the population in many places. They focus on whether it's high technology or whatever have you. But at one time, staircases were, a big point of focus for probably a larger population than we see today, maybe. Or am I foolish in thinking that?
You get to think whatever you want.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah. But no, anytime we get to do some traveling, I mean, I always like to take. That is, I believe that is in Split, Croatia. And just got it. Boy, I'll tell you, I mean, one of my favorite cities in North America is New York City, and just because it's I mean, it's been around for for a while. But
by the way, I gotta ask you, is a New York minute any shorter than Canadian or Edmonton or Calgary minute?
It depends.
New York minute. I don't know.
It depends when you start counting, I think. But yeah, I mean, but when you're in Europe, I mean, and we're talking. You're talking, thousands of years, not just hundreds of years. It's just a typical Venice shot, and I just the architecture. I mean, again, for someone who's been there for the very first time, this is all. I just stand in awe of of these situations. And one of the things that we did when we, like I said, it was a whirlwind tour. We were at a different place, every single day. And so the challenge with that is, how much, we've got so little time, and, what do you see, and, and what do you do? I mean, just be in the moment, which is, of course, very much an improv, fundamental. Be in the moment, just exactly where you are. I mean, sure, have a schedule and things that you want to do, and do some planning. You could probably work your way, around faster, by having a plan. But sometimes, you roll with the you roll with the punches. So what Lorraine and I did, we resigned ourselves to the fact, very early on, is that we're just going to enjoy being in the situation. Oh gosh, see, there's Lane's clothes. I was wearing his his show costume. But that's the shirt from like 40 years ago. Oh my, holy smokes. Okay, let me get back. What I wanted to say is that just appreciating where we were. So we did as much as we traveled, and we walked around as much as we could. So I mean, when we were in Paris, we went to the Eiffel Tower, but we didn't go up the tower. We went to the Louvre Museum, but we didn't go into the Louvre. We were in Rome. We went to St. Peter's Square, but we didn't tour the chapel or anything like that. And we were okay with that. We were just appreciated the fact that, oh yeah, this this shot here is a fairly common shot. Most people who know me know that I wear boots pretty much 360 days out of 365 days a year. So you're the classic foot at the beach or at the pool shots. A lot of times you'll see my boots with Lorraine's sandals. There's that type of shot is we've done in many places around the world. So, but they say wear comfortable shoes, and my boots happen to be the most comfortable pair of footwear that I have. So
there you go.
so
boots are made for travel, and that's what they're gonna do. One of these days, they're gonna travel all over the world.
Yeah, we've been we were very happy that we got to do the travel that that we did prior to all of this coming in.
Hey, look, I see your name on there.
Yeah, along with a lot of other people. That is a plaque just outside of the Big Four building down at the Stampede ground. I've been volunteering with Stampede for again, probably around 9 or 10 years or so. And when you hang around long enough and don't upset anybody, sometimes you get your name on a plaque. And that's like real metal plaque, not just a little plastic thing. So that name's there. I gotta, knowing that name is there for good. I better live up to the reputation.
Yeah, that's probably how my people found you. You mentioned earlier in the. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your travel photos and stories with us. If there was one or two pearls of wisdom that come out of travel that you want to highlight for our viewers, what might that be? Why would one travel? What do you get out of traveling other than a lighter bank account by the end of it?
Yeah. I say it's worth it. I say the lighter bank account is worth the travel. And I mean, it's so different for for everybody. I mean, I would definitely say if you have the opportunity is to take it. Whether that's around the world, or it's in the next province, or even if it's just right within your city that you've been living in for years and years, and but have never been to. I mean, traveling is just one of those things that you can do it on the cheap, or you can do it whole hog. You can spoil yourself, or just go cheap. But I mean, you're always meeting people is the big thing. Being in the environment and just sort of taking all of that in is great. I mean, I now really enjoy watching movies and being able to say, "Hey, we were there. Remember, we were there." There's just you just get more of that connection, wrapping it up to the the umbrella of connecting. People want to have a connection with other people. Have something in common. So whether that's a location or an event or another person, that's really what it's it's about, is staying connected.
Cool. And some of those connections remain connected for over 40 years, as we've seen
they show up in the chat box. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, we're still going for a little bit here, my friend, but I wanted to maybe, I wish Lane was here to see you wearing his clothes here.
Oh, gosh.
But I think he found out, because he mentioned it, right? He found out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this was just maybe one occurrence of other, many occurrences. But wow, tell us about this, my friend.
Well, that is my cast. If you bring up just that picture, I think there's in that particular.
That's code for get off the screen, Dune.
I say, yeah. So that was taken during our training and orientation down in Tucson. And
where are you in this picture?
Right dead center. Look, first row. Right dead center. There, right there.
Okay. That's now, where's Lane in this picture?
Gosh.
Lane is. He took his shirt.
Lane is no. He's a 1, 2, 3. I think he's to the. Is it to the left of me? Gosh, I don't know.
He's in there. He's in there.
But he's in there. Yeah. So there's probably close to 90, maybe 90 people there or so. Staff varied every once in a while, so they sort of come and go throughout the tour. But boy, I just love every single person in that photo. And sadly, and we'll get together every once in a while. We'll sadly we need to remember cast members that are not with us anymore, and some of them were taken, shortly after we disbanded from the cast, and others a little longer. But again, we just having another family to go to, and having that connection with people who you have something in common with, boy, that's all the support I need is right there in that photo.
So tell me, if you ask these people what was the most important reason why they joined this, why they got onto this journey with you guys, all of you folks, for a year at a time or something like that, what would be likely the reasons that people join?
People. We traveled as students, basically, and so everyone had their own reasons for wanting to join. I mean, you had to interview and be accepted into it. It wasn't based on talent, although we did need our musicians. We needed the guitar players and the drummers and such, but. And so again, depending on where they were in their life, when you've got an age group from 18 to 26, someone like myself, first time that I had really left home for any length of time, I was just taking it all in. Anything and everything that I could see and do, I wanted to do. Others were perhaps in their early or mid 20s, maybe they had already had some post-secondary schooling. There were programs or universities that you would be able to get credits for the tour that you were doing, whether it, for whatever project you set up, ahead of time with the university. So, I mean, it could have been in marketing or public relations, or it could have been in music. So yeah, everyone did have their own, reason for joining, and of course, everyone has their own stories. With that many people, even though we were always traveling together, I mean, we weren't 100 people every single moment of the day. And I started hearing stories from other cast members at reunions, and I'm going, were we even on the same tour? All these things that were happening, and that's the mini mic. That was one of my mic groups. We were probably the three shortest people there, but we had a great sound. I got to tell you, we had a great sound. But yeah, it was just the experiences were varied. I mean, I got to, we got, on when we had some time off. I mean, we had some touring around the areas and such. Hey, I've got to. Yeah, that's me on the right in the brown shirt. Look at the sideburns on that guy. Holy smokes.
Yeah, look at that. Hey, Armando chimed in again here, says, thanks for sharing. And abrazo.
Abrazos. Hugs. Yes, big hugs.
Cool.
Thanks, Armando. But yeah. Our audiences varied from we did seniors' homes, we did kids, we did elementary schools and high schools. I mean, we had a full audience because the show appealed to the entire spectrums, whether you're young kids or seniors. The songs were fun. They were meaningful, and we just get to it was. There's always there's always something to take in. We really enjoyed that.
Ben chimed in again here. He says, "Great job, Palmo."
Oh, Ben. Ben Garrett. That's us. One of that's the SEAL tank. That's the SEAL tank at the San Diego Zoo. And it was one of our smaller stages, but yes, we had to set up the risers and the sound. That was I think that was part of the Canadian medley. We were that was Farewell to Nova Scotia, because you throw a hat and a scarf on somebody and it screams Nova Scotia. But boy, that's this is awfully nice. At my reunion back in 2019, I was one of 5 alumni recipients of the Everyday Hero Award. So you've got alumni. I'm not sure how many alumni we have around the world right now. I'm gonna say, I don't know, 50 or 60,000. And I was nominated by Bill and Adelaisa, I was nominated and was given the Everyday Hero Award again for my for donating over 1,000 times, and again it's nice. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword where you want to say it's no big deal, and I say that because again, it's something that's very common for me. It's part of my life. But it is a big deal for someone who's donating for the very first time. They're saving lives. It is a big deal. So again, I would take this opportunity to not draw attention to me, but to the cause and to the point that we all have an effect on people that we meet, people that we've never met. You just don't know. So be a good person all the time, because it it
Yeah,
counts.
and lift others up, we say.
And yes,
Especially if you have the muscle to do it.
that was that was not last reunion. I think that was a reunion prior to that, and that was one of the end moves at in our rock and roll song, and yeah, that was many years and many pounds ago.
That was pre-COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Beth chimed in again here. She said, it was well-deserved award, Palmo, and what you've done is selfless.
Oh, thanks, Beth. Love you. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you a different question, my friend. I have
don't you have a job to go to?
I do, but I enjoy this so much, Palmo. What is money, and what is billable work when you can do this? Let me ask you a couple of things. One is
sure.
As you think about marketing, you mentioned marketing earlier a few different times.
Yeah.
I want to dig in a little bit and give our viewers some ideas, some things that you learned in your marketing journey, whether it's with visual kind of production of the visual elements and things like that.
Well,
do you have a few pearls of wisdom to share?
Of course, yes. Thank you for asking. I mean, marketing is still comes in under that big umbrella of connecting, but instead of connecting with your audience live on stage, you're having to connect with them, on paper, for example, or on screen, or what have you. Your job is exactly the same. You have a message that you want to share with someone else, and that message might be to buy a product, or it might be to things need to change. Whatever it happens to be. So you need to be aware of the of that medium and an environment, and spreading a message on a 70-foot billboard that you're driving past at 120 kilometers an hour is very different than maybe a corporate brochure, or a little travel pamphlet, or even a sticky note. If you've got a sticky note and you're throwing it onto your colleague's chair or screen that says, come see me, I need to talk to you, whatever it happens to be, exact same thing. What's your message? What are you trying to say? And what's the call to action? There are times when the viewer has the luxury of being able to read all the details, and there are some times when you don't have that luxury. So what's that? You need to connect with the audience, and a lot of times I draw the analogy of even just a simple presentation. With a beginning, body, and a conclusion, you need to grab. At the beginning of a presentation, you need to grab their attention, and whether that's loud or it's very quiet, you need to grab their attention first. Then you get into the details. Then you get into the what's the call to action? Is it pick up the phone and call me, or is it go to this website? Whatever it happens to be, same thing. So here would be like, again, a lot of typical. Where's the focus? That's what the WTF stands for.
Oh, and I thought you were referring to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I was like, what about the other days of the week?
No, this is where's the focus. So this is something typical that people will do. They have a lot of information. They want to put it all on the page, and they figure if they draw squares or boxes around it, it's going to it's going to grab their attention. But in a situation like this, you don't know what to look for. There's a good chance you're not even going to, you're going to see that, and you're not going to pick it up at all, right? Because it's just, you don't know where to look.
There's a comment from Adelisa here that you want to read. She said, I have to go now. Sad. Great fun and good information, Palmo. And thanks to the hosts. And maybe we'll meet again when we go to Canada. And see you next time, she said.
Thanks, Adelisa. Miss you. Love you. Bye.
Thank you, Adelisa. All right. So, yeah.
So, again, it's, you have a certain amount of real estate, whether it be, again, a billboard or a Post-it note or anything in between. You got to utilize that properly, just like with speakers, right? You have a certain amount of time. You need to utilize, you need to plan, and you need to utilize that, in the exact same way. So, grab the attention, get your, get the message across, and call to action. So,
yeah, very cool. So I believe that was the one thing. I'm going to bring in some other stuff here in just a moment there, my friend. Tell us about, I'm going to bring up maybe this one here. Let's see. The next one is,
what you got for us?
I got, this is curious. I have part 1 and then 4, 5, 6, and
I think what was they were just pulled out from a larger document.
Okay,
they're just specific. They're probably just specific examples.
Yeah. Let me bring that in here, and
if it's what I think you're going to be showing. That's just a couple of examples, and let me preface this by saying this was part of the Calgary chapter hosted a fast track program for several years for people interested in the speaking industry. One of the areas or topics that they covered were the one sheets, and so people were asked to sort of start all the ones you see on the left hand side. They were starting. They were just putting it together, and these are just shown. For my intents and purposes, I just pulled out 1 or 2 things that saying, here's what we can do to help narrow down that focus. So I don't know if you can maybe we just do the top one there. If we can get in just a little bit closer. So you see how initially you've got this big blob of purple and the gentleman's logo or word mark there. You've got a photo, the different groups that he's associated with, the call to the number of things that he offers, and so on and so forth. And what I had suggested, the one on the right, is that not everything needs to be the same size. And you can still make the separation. Again, a great job with having the 3 main points that regarding the program. But again, the logo doesn't need to be absolutely huge. But you see that the photo that he supplied, it was just sort of this wide establishing shot of him in action. I'm going, why do you look at all that real estate you've got back there in the photo? But instead of keeping the photo sort of out, such a wide shot, I said, where's the focus? Bring in the focus. So that image there is just a detail of the exact same photo. And we utilize some of this space on the blank screen in the background. We drew attention to the individual and the logo, the logo right there, and it's just cleaner. So just having again, just instead of getting to go throwing everything onto the page and say, take a look, here's where it is. let's bring down let's narrow down the focus and try to get the message across a little faster, a little cleaner. Because again, there will be some times when you've got the luxury of being able to read, a 4-page or an 8-page, document, and other times it's just a quick, what does it look like? Am I interested? Am I going to, do I want to read more? So again, there's just certain things that you would do to, take all that, all the information that, that you're wanting to share and narrow it down. You don't go into a speaking situation or doing a presentation or a keynote and say, I've been in this industry for 30 years. Let me tell you everything that I know. People don't want that, right? You need to manage the time, the space, the audience. So
for example, as a veterinarian, Ben is heading in to see a dog here. I'm sure that dog doesn't want to hear everything that Ben knows about dogs. Did that dog just want to hear what that dog came for?
That dog just wants to see Ben, wag his tail, and hopefully there's going to be a treat at the end.
Yeah. And thank you, Ben, for joining us. We know we're running long here. Armando, thank you for joining us.
Armando, thank you so much. Yeah.
So very cool. So again, you kind of like as a marketer, as a visual kind of artist, you're really directing focus. It's kind of like a magician. So like, don't look there, look here. That's not what I want you to kind of pick out first. I want you to focus on this, and eventually you can pick up the other details. Hence the fine prints, right?
Yeah, exactly. And especially with with advertisements. A good friend of mine, Davidicus, he told me a long time ago, only one thing gets to scream. One thing screams, another thing whispers, and everything on that sheet is gonna needs to have its turn, but it needs to be done professionally and appropriately. Even the fine print, which people say, oh, it's obviously there for a reason. I better, it's going to draw your attention. Whether you decide to read the whole thing or not. It's maybe it's not highest in priority, but it will, something small, something that's whispering is going to draw your attention just as much as something that's yelling and screaming. Maybe let's go down, scroll down the page on this particular one. There again, some appropriate use of photos and just breaking down all that text into appropriate spots. A good friend of ours, Mark, sorry, I know this goes back a ways. All these people are very professional and successful in their own right. So don't. But in this particular instance, Mark created this particular one sheet, and all I did on there was change the color palette, and you see you go. And eliminated some of the extras, extra colors there. But just by changing the color, you go from something that's a little more wild and maybe circus-like to something a little bit more corporate. Not everything. Not every word needs to be multiple colors. Not everything needs to be loud and in your face. It's
just like they say in music. Just like they say in music, don't overplay the song.
Excellent. I totally agree, and I would think, and you see that a lot with national anthems, don't you? I mean, yeah, you get some people that are just going to, they make it about themselves. They show off their range or what have you, and I mean, and there are some situations where it's absolutely appropriate. I mean, if you got it, flaunt it. But with something like a national anthem, just it's part of what everyone knows it. Everyone's going to, wants to sing it. There's that connection again, because everyone wants to belong, and everyone belongs because they know they're all singing at the same time. Yeah, people who have a tendency of just doing all the additional flourishes with maybe with some cover songs or with some some songs that they wrote themselves, fine. But with a national anthem, just let's just go through it. Let's all appreciate it and draw attention. Have less attention to themselves and more attention to to what we're singing or why we're singing it or whatever. So that's a great analogy. Yeah, don't overplay the song.
Mm-hmm. Just going to bring in this next one here.
There again, just where I say go big or go home. Having a gray background. Again, maybe a little tougher to know where to look. And having all that much text. All I did it was say, okay, you want it on a different color, something other than white. Let's go solid black and go with the reverse text. Now, when you knock out the text or you have the white lettering on the black background, again, you want to be a little bit more specific with the typeface, that it's still legible and so on and so forth. You need there's more things to take into consideration, but still, I mean, you see the photograph of the young lady. It's just as clean on a solid black background as it is on a white or a gray background. So,
in fact, it's a little bit more almost like every time I see black background, it equates to almost like watching a movie. Things are darker and like more showy, more kind of polished. White is more corporate looking, right?
Yeah. Again, who's your audience? Where is it? Where is it going to? And you know what? I mean, back several years ago, I mean, there's maybe a decade ago, you send a one sheet to somebody that was a solid photo and such, and they would probably be cursing you because you're using up too much of their ink, or if it's going to be faxed back in the old days. But nowadays the printing process is better, and and it's viewed on screen and such, so that's not so much. So if you're going to go with a very dark background or a lot of solid colors and such, again, just know that there's some things that you need to be aware of. But it's a little bit more forgiving nowadays. Mm-hmm. That bottom one there, this lady needed to draw attention to the public for places that were not necessarily handicap accessible and such. So again, on the left-hand side, this is me. This is what I do. A lot of information there. What I suggested, or just a suggestion, an option would be if you want to start with a graphic, which is what she did with that top banner. Again, it doesn't need to be in your face, huge detail. A simple image that and a good chunk of white space and a good headline, does the job. That's going to grab the attention. And then again, keeping her bio specifically with the photo and again the details in the middle. So there would be a good example of something screams, something whispers, and everything else sort of takes their it takes their turn, in showing. So again, just a couple of points. Not specifically designed to say this is what you should do. This is a good example of what could happen. This one was not you. This was something I was going to propose just for our the CAPS convention this year. That is now a virtual convention, of course. But we were playing with the I don't know if you saw the trailer for it, but when Calgary hosted back several years ago, it was sort of a Western theme, and this year we had a lot of the same characters, but suggesting or illustrating their what's the word? Yeah, I am a professional speaker. Yes, they're bringing in the sort of the newer year and the successfulness of speakers and such. So we have that that spectrum from horses to Porsches, from something previous to something newer, and again, just sort of playing with text and words, and seeing how you've got two different things that need to be occupy the same space, and how do you draw attention to that? Again, you could go with different style of lettering. The word Porsche is actually the typeface that Porsche uses, so just having that you can distinguish them, even though the text is all the same color. You can distinguish between the two by changing the weight of them or their positioning and such. And I don't know if you have the second page on that. So again, none of these were finalized. These were just ideas. But there again, you have the two different ideas. Of the car and the Western saddle, and how they can reside on the same page without being just on two different sides, a line down the middle and saying east is east and west is west kind of thing. Being able to,
which is a common beginner's mistake, common newbie mistake is, and I've made that mistake many times, where you have the pictures just sort of side by side and whatnot, rather than blending them in and somehow overlapping them and whatever, So that's a very common thing, right?
Yeah, and if you go maybe the last page on there, if that's yeah. So again, just another example. Again, and none of these were utilized, of course, but they're again an example of having the two different ideas residing on the same page. Both of them, I think, get the message across. You can take a look at that real quick and see that there's two there's two groups there. There's the Western saddle and the new automobile and such, and again, both of them are residing properly, like black keys and white keys and on the piano. So
there you go.
But yeah, it's again, it's all about utilizing the that real estate that you've got. Is it a poster? Is it is it going to be a billboard? Is it going to be how quickly are people going to be spending? What kind of time are people going to have taking a look at this? And once you do grab their attention, are you going to be able to keep it and let them get further dig deeper and get further information from it?
Yeah. So wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing those. And we're just rounding the corner on our wrap up here, and I'm just heading to a client meeting here soon as well. And I know that you have a few ideas to maybe kind of conclude with, and so I'll let you go ahead and take us home here on this interview there, Palmo. But before we do that, I just want to again say thanks to our viewers who tune in live and really join us in this conversation, and even many who have actually chimed in with their comments, and it's been fun, and it's been very engaging. And so with that, Palmo, I'm going to again, thanks everybody, and thank you, Palmo, for joining us for.
Thank you for having me.
It's a great conversation here, and and
you said that I was guest number 130 or so. I'm glad that you thought of me first when
Well, I had to practice. I have to hone my craft. You are like they all opened for you, my friend. Everybody that went before you really opened for you. You're the main act now, right?
No. I've watched. See you, Beth. I've watched a number of these, and I first of all, I congratulate you.
Look at that. And Christine says, I have to leave for the second time. She watched us for an hour. She went to a meeting that she had to be at a meeting.
And
she came back, and we're still not done yet, my friend.
Oh, and Christine, thank you. I think you owe me a dance. Just saying,
But, well, you can dance us out. You can do whatever, but we're gonna wrap up here, and we're gonna again say thanks to everybody, and again thank you, Palmo, for joining us here. And so after we're all done, stay in the green room for another minute, my friend. I'll give you a high five in there. But have a wonderful day, folks. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of one another, and we can all make it through this COVID thing together. Just be part of the solution, and enjoy. Palmo, it's all yours, my friend.
Jeez. Well, Dune, again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the work you do, giving our colleagues, a venue to share. And I do appreciate the fact that we weren't going to make this into some webinar and get into too much technical information. Just thank you for your interest in what I do, and allowing me to share that. And I would just bring it back to just connecting, and whether you're connecting with an audience of 1,000 or an audience of one. Learning how to connect and being open to a connection. I mean, it's just a win-win, a win-win situation. Get out and connect with the best we can. Obviously considering our circumstances, but connect any way you can, phone or email or Zoom or whatever it happens to be. It's always going to be win-win. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Be good to each other.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we are just rounding the corner on almost the 2-hour mark here, but we're going to stop before we hit the 2 hours, just so that we, time flies when you're having fun, right? So,
well, we were. I don't know about the viewers, but we were, yeah.
Thank you so much, Palmo. Talk to you later in the green room there, my friend.
Hey, thanks.